We will have a presentation with Behzad Sadegh, Veronica Ramos, and Jacqueline Southee, and then finish up with a question and answer session at the end. Please submit your questions through the chat feature and keep yourself on mute so we don't disturb the presentation. I'll go ahead and hand it over to Behzad.
Thank you, Sarah. So, very good morning from my side to everybody who is attending this webinar. We are very glad to have you here. I think the number of participants, they are just increasing because some of them still missing, but we have to start, and now we're in the phase of start. So, today we are going to present you the scheme, the version 6 of FSSC, which is coming next year. We are going to do some updates, some inputs regarding the new version and some changes and the modification in the existing standards. But before that, we are going to present you about ourselves. Today, we are three of us. We are very happy to have Jacqueline Southee as FSSC North America representative here, and Veronica Ramos, she is DQS or a food safety sector manager. But these ladies, they are going to introduce themselves by themselves. And me, my name is Behzad Sadegh. I am the new director of sustainability and consumer foods. Actually, I'm from Germany, and I joined DQS Inc. since March this year. I was 10 years at DQS in headquarters at DQS in Germany as director, as technical director, as well as the head of certification body, and have been relocated since March to the US. I've been happy to be part of this organization here in North America. And my responsibility is for North America, and we are taking care about all services regarding the sustainability and food and non-food sector. Good. So I'm going to just to give you some things about DQS. DQS is a German organization founded in 1985 as the first certification body in Germany. And we have to issue the first ISO 9001 in Germany, and it was back in 1985. But in 2018, we merged with the UL Group here in the US, and since then, we're acting as DQS UL up to 2015, which the company has been named to DQS Group. DQS Inc. has been founded in 2008 after the merge with DQS and UL. And since 2008, DQS Inc. is responsible for North American territory, so from Canada and USA. We have 80 countries, 80 locations in more than 60 countries currently. There are 2,500 auditors, qualified auditors globally that we have, and they are offering this more than 200 certification on standards or international, national standards that we are certifying organization according to that. We have more than 65 companies who are 65,000 companies who are certified according to diverse management systems in 130 countries, and approximately we have 125,000 audits paid annually, more or less. In some years we have more, some years there's less, but it's about 125 days, and that's we are auditing globally to our customers. And we are happy to have such clients here in the US and the North American region. Besides our offices, global offices that we are present in more than 60 countries, and DQS was also the founder of IQNet. IQNet is one of the biggest certification bodies network with major certification body for each country. And DQS was the founder back in 1989. This was the foundation of IQNet. And IQNet actually is with more than 300,000 certificates issued, is actually covering 25% of global certification, numbers of certification issued by IQNet's members. And DQS, we have the biggest member of the IQNet, and actually, as I mentioned, the founder of IQNet. This is actually about the DQS. Today's topics, what we are going to discuss about is we are giving you an overview about FSSC. This is the part which Jacqueline is taking over. After that, Veronica, she is talking about the scheme and the changes. Definitely, I will step in, but she is managing the most of the part. And the part 3 regarding the upgrade process, what is expecting you for the organization who are certified currently according to 5.1, what is the needed for upgrade process in the future. And we have, of course, question and answer sessions. Now I'm giving over to Jacqueline, please. This is your turn.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everybody. Thank you very much to Behzad and Veronica for the opportunity to talk to you today. As I was introduced, my name is Jacqueline Southee. I'm the North American representative for FSSC 22000. So I cover the whole of Canada and the US, and I work with our partners such as DQS and our certified organizations to sort of provide a source of information and updates. So this is a great opportunity for me to talk with you and to work alongside, respected partners like DQS. So if we could just have the first slide, probably go to the next slide now. So for those of you that are not familiar with FSSC, FSSC is a certification program that's wholly owned by a non-profit foundation, FSSC. So we have a mission. We're fairly unique because we are a non-profit. We're governed by a board of stakeholders with input from industry of representatives from right across the board. And our mission is to deliver trust and impact beyond certification. So we have a vision of making a better world. So because we're using standards, we're based on the ISO management systems. We're aligned with the United Nations Sustainability Goals, and we want to use our opportunity of working with all our partners, all our certified organizations, to provide a secure supply chain, and by doing this through our standards and through our certification. So that's the foundation, and that owns FSSC 22000. And FSSC 22000 is our foundational certification program. So it's unique because it's based on ISO 22000, and ISO 22000 is a management system. Behzad mentioned ISO 9000 as one, 9001 as one as their foundational management systems. ISO 22000 is ours, and it provides a framework for robust and effective food safety management systems. So an implementation of a management system, as you'll probably be familiar, is kind of an operation of the best way of doing things. They're written by experts from around the world, and they really do provide a framework in order to manage your business. And this is used by food safety companies by using ISO 22000, which incorporates a food management program, and which is science-based, as I said, delivered by international experts, and provides that foundation. However, ISO 22000 alone, while it's a globally recognized management system, it's not recognized by GFSI. So the foundation FSSC adds additional requirements to make it meet the additional benchmarking requirements of GFSI. And we add the robust integrity program, which means that you can have confidence in the certification. And then we add we specify prerequisite programs to support ISO 22000 to allow it to cover the whole of the supply chain. So that's really FSSC 22000, and that's how we work. So if I could have the next slide, please. You can see how we have developed over the years. This is kind of like a snapshot of FSSC 22000. So we work through our partners such as DQS, and we currently have about 120 certification programs who are overseeing 32,000 certificates worldwide. So we really are growing very fast, and that's because of our foundation of the ISO 22000 management system. We work with training organizations, and we have relationships with accreditation bodies because our certification bodies have to be accredited. They're accredited to 17021. And we cover this whole of the supply chain, and the supply chain that we cover here is on the right-hand side. So we were evolved, we've evolved over the years. We started in 2009 or 2010 when we first had version 1, and today we're going to talk about version 6. So this is all part of our continuous improvement and meeting the requirements of the global supply chain. If I could have the next slide. So just as, in addition to FSSC 22, in addition to FSSC 22,000 version 6, just wanted to share with you a couple of other recent developments. We are aligned, we do have, as I said, a vision of providing a better world, and we've recently made available our sustainability standard, which is FSSC 24,000. It's based again on the harmonized framework of the ISO management systems, so it works quite well, works very well, sorry, not quite well, alongside FSSC 22,000 and other management systems. And this is on social governance. So it's all part of social responsibility and compliance of meeting global requirements for social responsibility. We've also had we also have now made available our FSSC on-site, and this is a way of making our register of certified organisations more available, and there's more information on this on our website. So I just wanted to show those to you as additional benefit of having FSSC 22,000. So if we could have the next slide. So what are the benefits of the new version 6? So as I explained, the structure of FSSC 22,000 is based on ISO 22,000. So for everybody that's certified to FSSC, ISO 22,000 is fully applied. Now, on top of that are the specified prerequisite programs, which are sector specific, depending on what part of the supply chain you're operating in. We specify the prerequisite programs that are also ISO documents that you need to meet, requirements you need to meet. And then we have on top of that the additional FSSC 22,000 requirements. This enables us to add the additional elements required by the GFSI benchmarking. It also allows us to ensure consistency and integrity of the certification process through our integrity program. We have strict licensing requirements and requirements for the certification bodies and our accreditation bodies. It offers the opportunity for us to monitor the system, and it also adds the agility to address emerging food safety issues and to update FSSC 22,000. So as we talk about version 6, it's the additional requirements of version 6 of FSSC that have been updated. So ISO 22,000 remains the same. The sector-specific prerequisite programs currently remain the same, but the additional requirements have been updated to version 6. So if we could just go to the next slide. And the main drivers for the update of version 6 are, as I said, are an update to ISO 22003. Now, ISO 22003 is the foundational document of management system of our food safety management systems, and that defines the requirements for accreditation, for auditor competence, for auditor duration, and specifies the categories, and just is the sort of the rules for offering certification. And as FSSC is an ISO-based certification program, we're obligated to meet the requirements of the updated ISO 22003. So some of the changes that you'll see in version 6 are actually driven by ISO 22003. We also wanted to take the opportunity to introduce some new elements related to our mission and vision, and in doing so support our organisations, our 32, nearly 33 certified organisations around the world in their own efforts to support the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. So we have introduced elements that we believe can help improve, make the world a better place, and I know that we can all work together, and we feel that we're in a very good position to do that as part of our vision. And also, we also wanted to use the opportunity just towards continuous improvement. As we develop each new version, we introduce new editorial improvements, a way of sharing information, and just general amendments to improve the availability and the operation of the standard. So if I could have just the next slide. So some of the key benefits of the changes that then represent the key elements, as we talked about, the sustainability goals and helping organisations meet these sustainability goals. We have introduced a food loss and waste requirements, which can help all our organisations contribute towards the sustainability goals. There are a lot of global initiatives now which are really focusing on food loss and waste. There's something like 40% of food lost within the supply chain, and as we're facing issues of food security, we believe that using our influence and using our guidance and means of coordination and cooperation and communication, we can have some impact on reducing food loss and waste. We've also incorporated some new quality control parameters which supports food safety, quality culture, and we believe that adds benefit, a bit of value added benefit to FSSC 22000. We've also introduced enhanced measures to aid certificate authenticity. As I said, we're very anxious to maintain the security of our certification to avoid fraudulent certificates. So we've added a QR code to each certificate to ensure the authenticity. We've added some scopes. We've reduced the scopes, which Veronica will talk about in more detail, and we've added additional detail and interpretation into the documentation and the additional requirements, which we hope will help everybody in the operation of FSSC and lead to just enhanced operation of the certification program and food safety within the supply chain. So I think if we go on to the next slide, I think that I'm going to hand over to Veronica, and I'm going to turn myself off, but I'll be here if we've got any additional questions.
Thank you, Jackie. Hello, good morning, or wherever you are, have a good day. So here we are, and remember, this is just a webinar. It's not intended to be like a course or training. So here is just to give you the updates, the news about the changes in the scheme. And you've got to know that there is available already online in the FSSC website, the scheme documents. So from there, you can download all the scheme documents, including the guideline for the transition or implementation of the new requirements on version 6. So I'm just going to mention which are those changes, which are the new requirements, but definitely I invite you, if you have the opportunity as soon as possible, if you are already certified or are in the process of implementation for certification, to download from the FSSC.com website the scheme documents, and from as well in there you will find the guideline documents. There are several guideline documents. One, it is, for example, for the implementation of the new requirements of FSSC version 6. There's another, for example, very useful for environmental monitoring, and there are others that can help you for better understanding of the requirements, and of course to ensure that those will be properly implemented in order to be ready for your certification and maintain an adequate food safety management system. Okay, so about the changes in the scheme or the news about it. Behzad, can you please go back one slide? I just would like to explain one more. There you go. A little bit about those documents that are available in the website. So 5 parts are as part of the documents. We have part 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. The one, if you're an organization implementing these requirements, that is more important for you, it is part 2. So the FSSC Part 2 requirements for organizations to be audited is where you are going to find all the rules of implementation, certification, auditing processes, but specifically, you will find there as well the FSSC additional requirements. That part of the certification process that each organization needs to be implementing. So remember, FSSC scheme during the certification and implementation and certification means the ISO 22000, the TRPs, that is ISO TS 22002-1, 2, 4, and others, plus the famous FSSC additional requirements that are in this part 2 of the scheme documents. Also, I just would like to give you a heads up that also as organization, you need to be looking at the stakeholders list. So you can find it as well in the FSSC website, but the stakeholders list can also provide you an idea if it is coming something new, or if it will that will remain as stable or changed requirement. So also take a look at that 4 document for you as an organization. Very useful as well to see the appendices that are there, including definitions and normative references, and the annexes. In the annexes, I just would like to recommend you are not required to do that, but the Annex 2 can be very useful for you for your internal audits, the quality of your reports of internal audits. As you can tell, all these the Annex 1, 2, and 3 are applicable only for certification bodies like DQS. The Annex 4 is for accreditation bodies. And the Annex 5 as well, it is for certification bodies in terms of ICT, which means the remote audit process. So just as a heads up, you can also be using the Annex 2 as a reference to take a look at what are the expectations in the FSSC reports. All right, let's move on and let's talk about the changes. So one of the documents that I mentioned, it is part 1. In there are shown which are the new scopes of certification. These were changed. These were changed because the need of alignment to the ISO 22003. So in there, we have the categories that you can be certified. So if you are a food manufacturer, most likely you will be between C1 and C4. If you are if you're harvesting, washing, and packing fruits, that will be the B3, and so on. So if you are packaging, that I think that we have several packaging companies here, you will be category I. So these are the new or updated categories to be certified under version 6. It was removed category A, which previously was for farming, but something similar, or the organizations that were in that group now are in B3. And as well, the very big news is that FSSC 22000 quality-Q is no longer applicable, but instead you will see that there are new requirements. So those are the new categories in which you can be certified depending on the nature of your product. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm going to now explain to you very, very briefly which were the requirements that were modified and also which are the new requirements. But please, for further understanding, go ahead and download the standards and specifically the interpretation guideline that will be very useful for you. Okay, so which were the modified requirements? And from now on, I'm going to be talking about only on the FSSC additional requirements that are included in part 2. There is somebody with the open mic. I please ask you if you can mute yourself. Thank you. All right. So about those modified FSSC additional requirements in the document of FSSC's module as part 2, excuse me. Okay, 251. The 251, specifically the letter E, is the one that was modified, or it was added something more specific. This is that now all those companies that are for packaging and packaging materials, meaning category I, now they need to have controls over the use of recycled packaging as raw material input. So that is whenever you are receiving, for example, the frames, the slip sheets, boxes, could be any material of those boxes. So whenever you are receiving that as part of your business directly from your customers, there is something that you need to control about it. And that is explained in 251E. Then if we jump in 252, letter C, there are other letters, of course, but if we go to letter C, we can see there that now there are new requirements on control of claims on product label or packaging. So, of course, before, and all organizations are using the identification of the products, and with that they can get traceability. But specifically this 252 letter C requirement, it is asking that you need to have a very adequate control on whenever you are posting claims of your product that is nutritious, that is sugar-free, that is adequate for celiac consumers, that will be, so whatever is the claim that you are adding, now it is very specific, the requirement that you need to fulfill, and it is specifically about validation, traceability, mass balance, everything related to those products that you are posting a claim in your identification. Then we have a 252V, which is artwork management and print control. If you are an organization of packaging materials that you have a printing process in place, or embossing, or something that is showing an artwork in your material, usually is artwork from the customers that you are producing for. But here it is requiring to have a control of that, or artwork, of course, needs to be in fulfillment of legal requirements, and you need to have control over the materials that you are printing, because of course we don't want in the market to be using obsolete material or that is not in alignment with legal requirements. Then let's jump into 253 and 254, that is about food defense and food fraud. Specifically, it was added in each one of those two requirements, the letter in which they are saying that now for category F2, it is for brokers, agents, brokers, trading organizations. So if you are certified or will be certified on FSSC 22000 and you are a broker or agent, you need to be sure that your suppliers, the ones from which you are buying and reselling products, those suppliers, they do have an adequate as well food safety, food defense and food fraud programs, meaning assessments and plans, and of course the mitigation activities in place. So that is new for those that are trading organizations. Then we have other changes, which is in 255 about the logo use. So as you know, you are allowed, if you are certified, you are allowed to use the FSSC logo, of course, in fulfillment of certain requirements, including colors, sizes, and specifically it is specified where you can or where you are allowed to use it and where you are not allowed to use the FSSC logo. Also, there are statements there that you can use black and white if everything is black and white in your marketing information. You can ask, if you're certified, you can ask to DQS, the official FSSC logo, to be used in your, as I say, usually marketing information. All right, the next one is 256. This is just modified allergen. I'm sorry, Behzad, one before. In 256 about allergen management, that is asking you to have a risk assessment, to have proper identification of all the allergens. But specifically, one of the changes is that all personnel needs to be trained on allergens, and as well it is saying that you need to validate that the control measures that you have there to avoid cross-contamination with allergens are effective. So I know that is a lot of things to explain here, but this is just to let you know which are the news or changed or modifications in the additional requirements. 257 as well, it was modified, it was already there, but now it is more in detail. So there are more requirements in the environmental monitoring, and meaning that it needs to be risk-based, that you need to identify where you can have the growth of pathogens or spoilage or indicator organisms, and with that you have a risk, and based on the risk you need to have control measures. The thing is that environmental monitoring means that you need to evaluate the effectiveness of all the actions that you put in place to ensure that there will be no growing of those pathogens. And that is if your cleaning and sanitation program is effective. Okay, next. Let's see now that there were no modifications, but new requirements. For example, the 2510 letter D specifically. And that is about that if you are responsible of doing transportation of the products and it is in transport on tanker trucks, the new requirements about to ensure that those are clean and that the cleanliness, the washing process was effective. And if you are not doing that by yourself, that you have evidence that those tankers are ready to be used because they were washed. Then we have the 2511D. That is as well a new requirement that is about foreign matter management. That requirement, it is now very long, and of course it makes a lot of sense because it's very important to be sure that you have an adequate process of foreign matter contamination control. And I don't know you, but based on my experience as auditor, I know that most of the organizations identified more potential physical contamination than any other type of contamination. So physical is always something. It's a hazard in your hazard systems. So of course this 511D, it is a little bit longer now with more requirements, and specifically is asking that you need to do a risk assessment, of course, and you need to identify which devices can be useful to detect foreign matter. X-rays, metal detectors, cameras, sensors, anything that could be applicable for detection of foreign matter. Then we have 2513E, letter E. That is whenever you have product development. If you are responsible of doing product development as well, you need to be sure that you have an ongoing process to validate the shelf life of your products. So it's not that in first instance you say, oh, this will be with 18 months of shelf life. You need to have that evidence of those studies, but needs to be an ongoing process, not that once it was decided and that is it. Then as well within 2513 of product development is asking to validate cooking instructions whenever it's ready to cook product, the one that you are selling. So validation of cooking instructions that usually come in the packet, if you are selling something that needs to be cooked, the instructions need to be validated. Alrighty, so now let's jump into completely new requirements in version 6. One of it is 258. It is about food safety and quality culture. You know, within the experience of all the audits that I have been conducting in FSSC, we knew by default that the food safety and quality culture needs to be in place. This is about awareness. This is about communication, training, campaigns to be sure that everyone is in the same boat, that everyone it is preventing the contamination and ensuring to fulfill the customer requirements and legal requirements. So now it is explicit. Now the FSSC is asking to have a program, to have a set of activities to measure if those activities are effective. And of course, to ensure effective is that to ensure that everyone it is aware and they are taking care of the product for the consumers and customers. So that is something new. Now it is explicit. Before it was implicit because of course needed to be in place, but now it is explicit. How to do it. The 259, it is completely new as well. And remember that in the beginning, I told you that FSSC 22000-Q of quality is no longer applicable. Before it was another standard, another set of documents. Now it is embedded into the additional requirement, but very, very specifically. What is in there? I'm going to show you what. Then 2515 is a new one. 2516 for food loss and waste is also a new one. And remember that FSSC wants to make a better world. It is very, very related to that of food loss and waste. And then we have the communication requirements to certification bodies from your organization that is certified to DQS in this case, for example. So let's see 258. That is about the quality culture. And I already mentioned briefly that it is about how you are addressing requirements on communication, training, employee feedback and engagement, usually surveys, and performance measurement of defined activities. So it is about to have a plan, documented plan with targets, due dates, things that can help you to manage perfectly fine the implementation of the adequate culture of your organization. Let's jump into the next one, which is about the quality section. So as I said, quality control is a new requirement applicable to all categories of products, and this is about to have policy and objectives. Before, we were looking only at the policy and objectives related to food safety. Now we are going to be looking, or you need to be implementing, and we are, as auditors, we are going to be looking at the quality policy and quality objectives as well. So not only on food safety, of course. Then you need to have quality parameters. This is about how you are going to be sure that the product specifications are going to be met. And that usually means product inspection, maybe process control as well. So you need to determine which are those parameters that you're going to be inspecting, controlling. Of course, you will need to have more records if you didn't have them before, but records of the inspections of the quality parameters, because then the records needs to be used. It's not only to have them recorded, it's not only to show it to the auditors, it is actually to use that information and do trending and evaluate if you need to put in place actions to prevent any deviations from the specifications. As well, we have that this requirement includes quality elements in the scope of the internal audit needs to be included. So if before you were auditing using a checklist that was including only the PRPs, only these version 5.1 additional requirements, of course here it is saying that all these quality controls as well needs to be included in your internal audit. Is asking for having quality control procedures. So if this is more about the typical work instructions for production and quality. So documented procedures to know how you are going to be controlling the quality characteristics. And then the procedures as well, in which you need to control everything that is needed during the startup of the lines and the changeovers. So as you know, there are a lot of things to take care whenever we are doing starting a new production or changing from one product to the other in the same production line. So this is completely new, but most likely you as an organization that have already implemented the FSSC 22000, you were anyways doing this, but now will be by default part of the scope of the certification, all your quality control. Okay, then we have equipment management. That is whenever you are buying new equipment and you are about to commission a new equipment, you need to take care from the process of planning, purchasing. Everything needs to be in alignment to ensure that is a product that is useful for the intended use. Of course, we need to take care that if you are a food processor, those surfaces are not going to be affecting the integrity of the product. And the same with any of your product codes. So the equipment needs to be adequate for the intended use. That selection is to be risk-based, and in order to know which product, which material, and all the parameters that are needed as well for quality control. And evidence of successful commissioning. So a lot of things needs to be taken in consideration, including legal, including the HACCP, that might be modified, has a flow diagram and hazards, and because of that, changes in your management system. Okay, the next one It is 2516. This is how to make a better world. One step at a time, little by little. But this is about the control of food loss and food waste. So this is only applicable for the, or it is applicable to all the product categories except for packaging. So this is about food. So a category I, which is packaging, does not apply. But first we need to understand what are the definitions of food loss and which are the definitions of food waste. Remember, in the FSSC documents, there is one document that is about definitions. In there, you can find the official definition, but let's take a look here. It is saying that food loss, which is different than food waste, and food waste was already there, but very general, to be honest, that requirement in the PRPs. Now, in the additional requirements, it is saying that food loss, it is when it happens, occurs before the food reaches the consumer as a result of issues in the supply chain during production, processing, storage, and distribution. So if you are those one of those organizations that you already know what is your yield rate, you already know that it's expected to have some kind of food loss during the production and until it is delivered to the customer. Now it is the company, the standard or the FSSC additional requirements, it is asking you to do that analysis, to take care and to reduce, to try to control that food loss. Of course, it is about everything in the supply chain. Might be related to temperatures, might be related to stock rotation, a lot of things to take care of. But the thing is that as well, remember that ISO 22000 includes the requirement of improvement. So little by little, but something better in regards to food loss. And then food waste is more related to the food that is fit to consumption. So it is still good to be consumed, but consciously you discard that product to be available in the retails or warehouses. So food waste in this case is not the same as production waste. So food waste, it is more related to the categories of your product. So you say this is fresh, completely fresh, but based on the shelf life, this is still alive. So you can still consume this. However, there are customers that are saying, no, in my supermarket, I just allow to have those products that will be available with enough shelf life and consume only in 10%, but 90% needs to be available. So that 10% that could be a week, could be still consumable, but you need to be sure that you can reduce that waste because of that food is alive but not acceptable by certain retailers or customers. So you need to have a strategy on how to reduce this kind of waste. And of course, if that waste will be for animal feed or animal food, you need to take care of the legal requirements. That's it. Let's now go ahead and check the 2517. So this is about communication requirements. And this is the last new requirement. And let me explain you what is this about. So right now, if you are involved in any serious event or serious situation, you are required to communicate within the first 3 days after it occurred. You need to communicate that to the certification body. We as certification body, as DQS, we know what to do with that information. It's not about to communicate this to the authorities. That is not the case. It is more about to be sure that you are following the requirements. For example, the recall withdrawal requirement or products on hold, non-conforming products and management. So that communication, it is really to be sure that you are in fulfillment of the rest of the requirements that are applicable after a serious event or after a serious situation. It is also asking that you need to be prepared in case of those emergencies. So there is this requirement that is asking, it was already there in ISO 22000, but now it is asking to reinforce your emergency preparedness and response. Then we need to be aware what is exactly a serious event and what is a serious situation. Remember, there is this document of the definitions, but just very, very in general terms, we have serious events as wars, strikes, terrorism acts, crime, flood, earthquakes, and I can add into the serious events as well pandemics. They are, remember, we just crossed to a very, very serious event that were affecting your the maintenance of your management systems. And the serious situations, it is public food safety events, actions imposed by regulatory authorities, legal proceedings, fraudulent activities, and corruption. So regardless of the classification, if something out of the normal that is serious happens, you are required to communicate that to the certification body, and we are going to work together with you, not helping you, but work together with you in regards to what needs to be checked, that it was that is taking care of the product, of course, consumers and customers. And that is it. I now give you the mic, Behzad.
Thank you, Veronica. Thank you very much. So we are very good in time, and another couple of minutes, and we go to question and answer sessions. Just I'm giving you an update regarding the upgrade process. What are expecting you for the new version? So audit duration, it'll be this a slight modification in audit duration because as Veronica and Jacqueline mentioned, this new standard FSSC version 6 is based on 2023 dash 1 and dash 2. This is the two new standards coming out last year. And those two new standards, they define differently different approach of categorizing, grouping, and as well as, of course, the mandate calculation. So they will expecting for the next version slight increasing of your mandate. That's why I'm showing you that that will definitely it will be increased in FSSC part. So the time of FSSC will be between 1 mandate to 1.4 mandate, and minimum audit duration for um, um, it is 2 mandate, and the reporting time will be the additional 1 mandate and on top will be calculated. So there's another option. This offset activity was also available in last version. This is only shows that maybe some organization that they have activities which is split processes. For example, you are producing there in another building, you are filling. So this is outside activity. This is also for you to know that this part is also adopted and has been slightly modified. And use of ICT, this also mentioned that fully remote audit for category F2, which is broker and agencies, is now applicable to only for category F2. So upgrade process version 6 is applicable from, it was published in 31st of March this year and will be applicable from the 1st of April 2024. So it means it was 1 year transition time. There have never been before such a long time for transition. It is one reason is because of the turning on changing the accreditation according to 2003-1. So all certification body have to have changed the procedure according to accreditation rules, and that's why there's 1 year transition period. There is an version 6 upgrade process published by FSSC. You can find it in the website of FSSC. And this kind of 12 transition period I mentioned before, this is because of the CBs and ABs, certification body and accreditation body, as well as certification organization to need to be prepared. The first audit to version 6 can be started from April 1st of April 2024. And all organizations will have to complete the version 6 upgrade audit before March 31st, 2025. It means this is 1 year to complete this upgrade process. Once started in April 1st, 2024, So it shall be ended March 31st, 2025. And the upgrade process in assurance platform shall be completed by the no later. This is something that we take about that. Once the audit is done, we as certification body upload all those documentation to the assurance platform, which FSSC take care about that. So this is a part support. I think, Jacqueline, do you want to say some words regarding this documentation, support documentation?
Yes, of course. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Veronica and Behzad, for a very good summary of version 6. And obviously there seems to be an awful lot of changes. You know, we always kind of take a big breath when we have a new version change with any of these certification processes and thinking of all the work that needs to be done. And we just want to enforce the support that we can provide for you, and also obviously DQS has terrific support and advice for you moving forward to go through this transition period. So the transition period is don't wait, it's happening now. We have the information on the website. We have a very detailed change document in order to help you undergo this transition, and it's on the website. And what it does, it highlights the changes from version 5.1 to version 6 in red. So you can see those additional elements to the existing requirements that Veronica talked about under the existing requirements are highlighted, as well as the additional sections for the completely new requirements, the food loss and waste. They are quite clear and detailed in the upgrade scheme. This is not the final scheme. The final scheme has not got red highlights on. That's under the scheme documents. This is just an assist document for you. The upgrade process also is detailed on the website. For instance, we talked about the discontinuation of FSSCQ. So if anybody's certified to FSSCQ, it's not a big lift. It's just a case of separating the two certificates. So all of these things that you might encounter, these situations that you might have, they're going to be detailed on the upgrade process. And the upgrade can be done on an unannounced audit, it can be done as a recertification audit, or it can be done as a surveillance audit. So your next audit after April 1st, 2024 needs to be to version 6, and this is all detailed on the website. We've also upgraded our existing guidance documents that Veronica talked about. We have guidance documents on culture, food fraud, food defence and environmental monitoring already, and these are being updated. They're going to be published, I think they're already on the website. So these have been updated to support the new version, and I hope you'll find those helpful. And then we're going to be producing new guidance documents, which are also going to be freely available on the website, and they're going to be covering the food loss and waste requirement, the culture, the quality and the quality culture, the quality elements, and the communication. So these are all going to be added, and they're going to be additional information that hopefully will support you. And I think we have you have access to the information on the website, fssc.com, and obviously through DQS that have terrific expertise to help you achieve version 6. And with that, I think that's the end. I don't think there's another slide. If you can move forward to see if that's the end one. I think it's time for additional questions and answers.
Yes. So now, Sarah, this is now your turn.
Yes, currently we don't have any questions submitted in the chat, but if anyone attending this webinar has questions, please go ahead and submit them in the chat feature, and our presenters will go ahead and get those answered for you.
Any questions? Any questions? Nobody?
Seems everybody is available.
You guys just did a great job.
Yeah.
Or very bad.
Are there any questions? So I wonder if I should. Yeah, I don't know if there's any questions. I could offer some of those questions that are frequently asked if we have time. So,
there's somebody that is reacting with the right hand.
No, now somebody is coming up.
Would you like to add your question or ask your question?
Hi, it's Kamlesh here from South Africa.
Hi.
Um, Thanks so much for the nice training material. The main challenge right now is on the training. Many interested trainees are asking, why should we do FSSC version 5.1 lead auditor training while FSSC version 6 will be effective as from April? So what is your input on that? Should they continue doing the FSSC version 5.1 lead auditor training, or what is option or alternative?
If I can answer to that, okay. So the thing is, we are as DQS, we are training organizations, so we are providing training as well. So the thing is, since the new version is coming, and there are a lot of changes in the new version, especially in regard to 2003, which is coming. So I am restructuring the old training concept. So that's why I'm working on that in this concept, and we will be finishing. I think yes, this is many people say, okay, for the next 6 months, why we have shall go through the old version. But if somebody is interested in version 5.1, so this is afterwards, and transition training will be needed to version 6. What we are doing for our existing auditor as well.
Yeah. If it helps you for your decision, just take into consideration that the current version 5.1, everything that is included will be applicable for version 6. The only thing it is that version 6 is adding more requirements. The modifications, it is not really to change the wording of the existing requirement, it's more to add wording in existing requirements. So if that helps you for your decision, that's what I can tell you. And then to take the upgrade, of course, if you decide to go 5.1.
Thank you.
Any other question? All right. So as well, I will add that in our website, dqs.com, there is one link there that is saying Learn. And there as well, you can find the link to DQS Academy. We are going to be offering public trainings for FSSC 2000 issue 6, version 6. All right.
Good.
Terrific.
So that is it. Thank you very much for your participation.
You.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's
Bye
nice to
bye.
see everybody today.